Hello everybody, it's Keris here helping you get into schools and nurseries. I hope you're all well. This is something brand new to the free challenge this week, which is our amazing round table. Now, instead of asking me the questions, you get to ask our panel of experts. And what I mean by our panel of experts is the people that are going in and doing this day in, day out, and the people that are working with other people who are doing this day in and day out. So you can really get a sense of what it's actually like behind the scenes working in schools and nurseries when you have a children's activity business. And we've got our amazing mindset coach Philippa on hand to deal with any mindset issues that come up as well. So I have some questions from you all on the question thread, but obviously if you do have questions while we're live, we can come to those as well. So first of all, do let me know who is here in the comments. So because I can see lots of lovely people are joining us, which is fantastic. So let us know who is here, and let us know if you have a question for our panel all about getting into schools and nurseries. So say hi in the comments. And obviously, if you're watching on replay, let us know as well. So it's great to see so many of my lovely Approaching Schools Academy members, past and present, by the way, and people who are at different stages of their journey as well. I haven't just brought people who have kind of been through the whole programme and got into lots of schools. I've also brought people in who are kind of towards the beginning of their journey as well, so that you can see the whole broad spectrum. So hello, hi Radha, how are you? Hi Lauren, how are you? Nice to see you. So do let us know if you've got any questions for our experts. And I've got some questions to start us off. So my first question for all of you, what's the best thing about working with schools or nurseries for you? Let's go to Mike first.
Yeah, I think the thing I found, which is very different about working with schools and nurseries, is how quickly they pay you. When you work with corporates, you can wait months. With schools and nurseries, the payment is much quicker, and I've loved that. And obviously, the work itself is great.
That is fantastic to hear. You're right. There's sometimes with corporates, there's a lot of red tape and a lot of sort of bureaucracy to go through. And with the schools, you found they've all been paying you on time, have you, Mike?
They're pretty quick. Yep.
Good. That's great news. I love that answer. Thank you, Mike. Let's go to Jess. What's the best thing for you about working with schools and nurseries?
I think the best thing for me is it's another income stream separate to my community classes. So it gives me the opportunity to go into schools during the school day when my little girl's in school, so I don't have to worry. I can still go and pick her up at the end of the day and things like that. So for me, balance wise, that's really great. And also going into schools has helped my community classes grow because they enjoy it in school, might not have thought about joining us, but then do join us in my community classes as well. So yeah, women.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. It's that ripple effect that you're experiencing right across your business, not just directly from the schools you're working in. That's fab. What about you, Sammy? What's the best thing for you about working with schools and nurseries?
For me, I feel like a little bit of a superstar when I go into the schools, especially the nurseries. They as soon as they see me, they chant "Boogie Tots, Boogie Tots," and I can see instant impact. I just started working in a STEM school, and the teachers that work with them, they're showing appreciation all the time. You know, it's really working. It's just really working for them. So it's such a great feeling. It's really nice to be doing something really good with kids. Kids are wonderful. They're quite a lot of fun. If you're having a bad day, just go and spend some time with some toddlers. It'll soon cheer you up.
I love that answer, Sammy, and it's very clear that you absolutely love what you do. That's brilliant. Thank you. What about you, Andy? What do you absolutely love about working with schools?
For me, it's about exposing children to my brand, because otherwise you'd have to go and find me. So by coming into the schools and doing the presentations, working with the doing the classes with the teachers, it gives you a real sense of kudos within the community. So I'll get people, parents coming to me after I've done a lesson and say, I'd like to sign up for your community classes because they've done it at school. And so you have a sort of implicit nod from the school that that's okay to do. So all of my community classes have really benefited from me being in schools. But not only do I get to go into schools and promote myself, they pay me for it as well. So, you know, where I used to sort of rock up and do stands and stuff, I'll come in, I'll do a class, you'll pay me, I get to give out flyers at the end, and I'm going to see your kids later as well. So it's a brilliant feeder.
It's win-win. Are you getting paid to get paid? Brilliant. Can't think of anything better than that, Andy. Oh, that's fab. Thank you for that insight. What about you, Jackie? What do you love about working with schools and nurseries in your business?
I think there's two things. One is from my heart and one is from my head. So the heart one is that we're able to reach the children who might not be able to afford our private classes, our community classes. So it's really good to get in there and work with kids whose families just might not ever consider drama as a pastime. So that's the first thing, reaching kids that we probably wouldn't otherwise reach. And then on the businessy head side, once, as you know, I've got quite a lot of after school clubs from the work we've done, and it just keeps repeating. So there's no extra effort on my behalf. They just want you term after term after term. So then every time I get a new one, it just bolts onto the others and we're just building and building. So I think that's probably the best thing from that point of view.
That's huge, isn't it? You know, and I hear that a lot, is that people actually didn't realise, and we've got a question about kind of what do you wish you knew about working with schools coming up. But I think it's important to kind of highlight this, is that what a lot of people didn't realise until they started doing this, like yourself, Jackie, is that life and business gets to be much simpler, because we don't find ourselves so much on that kind of hamster wheel of having to do ongoing marketing midterm to fill a spot in a class, because it's all sorted at the beginning and the school are refilling these classes for us and renewing term after term. And you know, when you do a good job, you can expect to be in a school for a very long time, and that's what you're now experiencing, Jackie, which is amazing.
Yeah, I just send them a link and they do all the marketing. So,
love it. Absolutely love it. Who here watching this would absolutely love someone else to be doing the marketing for them? You know, this is how easy it gets to be when we work with schools. That's fab. Thank you, Jackie. Philippa, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question related to this. I'm going to ask you, what do you absolutely love about working with the children's activity providers that we get inside the Approaching Schools Academy?
I love the aha moments. And I also love it when somebody says, you know, I'm getting the hang of this mindset stuff, which is what somebody said to me this morning. And I'm like, yes, you know, and actually can start to see that the impact that it has on their business and their life, just tiny little tweaks about how you think, you know. And Jackie demonstrated the head and the heart, you know, that there can be two different thoughts going on as well, and all of that sort of stuff. So I love the aha moments that we have, but also how the ripple effect from a totally selfish part of me as well is that actually I'm involved in all of these businesses. Yeah, I've been part of all of them. Every time I speak to somebody, you know, that's massive. That's so cool. I love that.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. And yeah, I feel exactly the same. Like, you know, the ripple effect is huge. And that was a perfect answer, because my next question is all about aha moments. So I want to know from everyone here, what has your biggest aha moment been since learning my methods for getting into schools and nurseries? Let's start with you again, Mike. Mike, I think you were on. There we go.
I was, but then I unmuted. I think probably for me, the biggest aha moment, if you like, was discovering that it is possible to get emails opened, even if you don't know a person's name to send it to, and you don't have to cold call schools. You can actually get into schools without phoning them in the first place. And that was such a blessing.
A lot of people say that. A lot of people assume that they're going to come on this free challenge and be told to cold call 10 schools, and it's a massive relief when they realise there's another way of doing it that gets to feel good at the same time. Oh, that's a fab insight. Thank you, Mike. What about you, Jess? What would you say your biggest aha moment has been since starting to learn my methods to get your business into schools?
There's been quite a few aha moments. I don't know which one to pick two. I think initially, when I started a business, I knew I wanted to go into schools and nurseries, even though it wasn't a big focus, but it was in the back of my mind. And I did try every now and again to reach out to schools, but I never had a great response. I never had a great response at all, really. So by learning your methods in making sure your offer links to something that they will be talking about and doing in school, such as World Fitness Day, World Mental Health Day, Anti-Bullying Week, anything like that. If you can link your offer to that and give them a deadline to respond, to take up your offer, that makes them more inclined to respond and get your business in there and then, rather than, oh, well, that's nice, we might do that next year.
Absolutely. So, I mean, what Jess is getting at here is, if we really want to compel a school or nursery to get back to us in record time, let's say you had a Halloween themed taster. I've just picked that example because Halloween's going to be coming up soon. Well, they can't exactly turn around and say to you, this sounds great, but we'll do it after Christmas, because Halloween is happening, you know? So that is a great tip, and lovely to hear that aha moment from you, Jess, because that's a huge thing that we focus on in the Approaching Schools Academy, isn't it? The relevancy of your offer and how to really make it relevant for the time of year, so that we can have that consistent approach to contacting schools all year round. So that's a fab insight. Thank you for that, Jess. That's great. What about you, Sammy? What about your kind of biggest aha moments since learning my methods, would you say?
I think finding the value. So rather than just being someone that provides a dance class, it's actually, it's got loads of value. It's building confidence. It's encouraging self-esteem. Like, I don't know if you always realise that. It's just a thing that you do, but you don't always realise the value you're giving. And in my experience, the school really appreciate that. And the nurseries. So that's, again, I think it's a bit of a mindset thing, but that's really elevated my business a lot.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Should we ask Philippa to jump in on this from a mindset point of view, in terms of value, like that mindset of adding that value and realizing that you're not selling something, you're actually helping them?
Yeah. And I think that is another thing that we talk about, is self-worth as well. Understanding that it's not just a dance class, it's not just a yoga class, you're not just there to tell a story. It's seeing the bigger picture. And from a mindset point of view, a lot of us, a part of us assumes that everybody will know all of those things. We assume that, of course, they're going to know that dancing is going to improve confidence. I'm not going to state that in black and white. Why would I do that? And it's then understanding that a part of us will stop us from doing that and being more obvious, because it doesn't want us to change. And so it's then understanding change and what might come up for you. So it's not just a self. I'll go off on one, talking again if you're not careful, Keris. You can't ask them questions that are too open-ended. You know that, don't you? Everyone's laughing because they all know that's it. She's off on one again. But it's all to do with self-worth, and then being able to identify how to make a change and stuff like that, and how to get through it. I'll stop talking now.
Thank you. No, I love that. Andy, what about you? Biggest aha moment since learning my methods to get your business into schools?
I had loads. It's like with Jess, there was just pennies dropping all the way through, from the first day of the 5-day challenge all the way through to almost every tab in ASA. In Approaching Schools Academy, I'll be looking, going, oh yeah, so that is how you're supposed to do it. So I think overall, it's a series of aha moments, but probably summarized by, there are other people trying to get into schools at the same time as me. They're not, but some people are doing it really badly. And I remember reading I remember reading just submissions at the beginning where, we were saying, look, this is what I want to send to schools. And I was going, man, it's some of them were not great. And you're looking at it and it's what you were saying, Sammy, where you just assume that people know what you're offering, right? I walk in and I say, right, I'm offering Lego robotics. You obviously know what that is. And it's very self-centered. So I think that learning that actually you're trying to solve a problem, your stop method, you've got to go in and solve a problem for people. If you're solving a problem, they'll find the money to buy it, because people and businesses find the money to solve a problem. They don't find the money to massage your ego. And no matter how good you think your product is, they're going to pay you to solve their problem. So if you've shown that you can solve a problem and you can articulate that, then you're probably going to make a sale. And I did this yesterday, actually. I went into a school yesterday, and just before I went in, I thought, I haven't read up about them. Quick, have a quick read of their, and it was a throwback to what you've taught me, pretty much. I looked, I was like, oh, right. Okay. So that's what they're doing in computing. And I brought it up in the, I sat in with a head, and I said, I see that you use Purple Mash. So, I'd expect quite a high level of sort of programming proficiency. And the conversation went from there. And you could see the head lighting up like, oh, he's done his research. He actually is coming in to solve a problem for us and not to sell whatever product he's got. So I'm more open to listening to that. So really a whole mindset change for me. And that was the moment.
That is so insightful. Thank you, Andy. I've been saying all this week, when they see the value, they will find the budget. And Andy, you've just knocked the nail on the head there with a very, very recent example that happened to you yesterday. So that's amazing to hear. Yeah, thank you for that. I think a lot of people will take a bit of a light bulb moment from that as well. That's brilliant. What about you, Jackie? What's your biggest aha moment since learning these methods, would you say?
I think I'm just going to back up what Andy and Sammy have said. In that the first one is that schools actually do have money. There's all the headlines saying they can't afford crayons and paper, but actually, if you can demonstrate that you're offering something really of value to their pupils, they do find the money. So that was the first one. And then the other one, I always felt like what we offer in drama, because it comes easily to us and we just do it, I think maybe you don't see the value in what you do because that's just what you do. So I always felt like the teachers would already be introducing drama in their classes, and they'd already know how to do it, and they'd be like, oh, we don't need you because we already do this. And it's just so far from the truth. It's been welcomed with open arms, and so I was very wrong. So that was my aha moment.
That's a really great insight, because coming from a place of, for me, having been a primary school teacher myself, doing a 4-year teacher training degree, there's so much to pack into those 4 years that you don't really become a specialist at anything when you train to be a primary school teacher. I mean, I took my art specialism alongside my degree. It was kind of worth about 40% of the overall degree, I think. But again, that wasn't really about teaching art. So then you've got all these different subjects, and other subjects have popped up, since I did my training, for example, and since a lot of teachers would have done their training, where they're expected to be knowledgeable about it. Not just knowledgeable, but they're expected to be confident to teach it when perhaps they've not got that background themselves. So there's a really good point what you said, Jackie, is that you live and breathe this stuff day in, day out. You are a drama specialist, and perhaps you almost took for granted the fact that not everybody else in the world is a drama specialist, and the primary school teachers themselves are not drama specialists, and maybe they had 1 or 2 days learning to teach drama as part of their training, and they've forgotten it, and nobody sent them on a course recently. So I think that's a really important thing to remember, is we are all specialists. We do what we do day in and day out. Primary school teachers perhaps don't. Nursery teachers probably don't either. So it's about remembering that you are the specialist and you have a lot to offer. Even if, and I know we always get this sort of barrier at this point where people say, oh, but I'm not a qualified teacher, I couldn't possibly know more than a teacher in a school. But you do, because you know more about your subject in a school. Andy knows more about coding and robotics and making amazing things happen with Lego than any teacher in any school could do with Lego themselves. Jess is able to kind of inspire storytelling and adventure through dancing. you know, and she's able to do that because she is a specialist in dance. And a lot of teachers might tell themselves, whether this is right or wrong, they might tell themselves they've got 2 left feet or that they've got no rhythm, because we hear adults say these things to themselves, don't we? And they need a dance specialist to come in because they're not that confident at teaching dance. So it's that side of things that I think you're right, Jackie, we kind of forget that we actually know more than them about our subject, and we can help them if they've got a problem whereby they don't have the knowledge, confidence or skills to teach it effectively. So yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you, Jackie. We've had a few questions about return on investment. Return on investment is obviously going to be different for everybody. And return on investment, I think somebody was asking on the question thread about kind of like how long it took you to make your investment back. Who here, just by a show of hands, would be happy to answer that question for us today? Andy, let's start with you. How long did it take you to make your Approaching Schools Academy investment back?
About a month.
Oh, wow, a month.
Yeah, it's remarkably easy because I mean, once I'd figured out, oh wow, you can actually get into schools. Yeah, I was starting to get contracts, and the first contract paid it twice over. So that was fairly simple. But that being said, I think there was that, and we spoke about this, Keris. I went into you know, I'd sent loads of emails around, and there were people saying. There was one school saying, well, we don't know, we haven't heard of this guy, just come out of the woodwork. If I said, why don't you guys try him, and when you try him, let us know if he's any good. So it was just because schools talk to each other, and so, you know, after I sort of went into one school, the rest of them just sort of started knocking on my door instead. But for me, it's a constant increasing return on investment, and it's doing it all the time. So, you know, by going into schools, as I said, I build up that trust. I'd say it's paying for itself. It pays itself back every month. So I'm no regrets there at all. I'd say about a month, maybe a little bit longer, 6 weeks max.
Okay, 6 weeks.
What I would say about
it, term.
Yeah, pretty much. And what I would say about this, you know, you got to put the work in. You know, it doesn't pay for itself. You got to put the work.
Magic pill, so you can't just pay me and poof, it happens. I did make you work, didn't I, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. And one thing, we have an ongoing joke that Keris is kind of all over the social media. So once you sign up for it, like if you're on Twitter, she'll be there. If you're on LinkedIn, she'll be like, "Have you done your tasks yet? Have you followed up that email?" So you can't actually get away from her at all, and that's dead useful. I find that being part of the academy and having that sort of accountability, not just to her, but, you know, I would go onto the thing on Monday and say, I'm going to send 5 emails this week. And, you know, by Thursday, we're like, have you sent those 5 emails? Let's get those 5 emails sent. And so a little bit of accountability really helps. But, you know, even I'd even go as far as to say, I didn't even have to join the academy to get the return on investment. I mean, I started off in the 5-day challenge, and I was getting, you know, I was starting to get people asking. I was starting to get interest from the 5-day challenge to the emails. What do I do now? And it was the additional bits where with the academy, I then knew how to actually complete that and close the sale. So, you know, you're already offering a great thing with a 5-day challenge.
Yeah, thank you for that insight, because I think it might have been you, Jess, that has said a similar thing, whereby you'd learned how to get into schools with the free challenge. You know, you'd learned to get that far. You know, okay, I can send an email now, and it's you know, I know it's going to convert to the best of its ability. But what do I do next? What happens when a school does respond? What happens when a school doesn't respond and I need to follow that up? Or what happens when a school does respond and I've got to go and figure out how to deliver a high converting demo now? Or what if I have to go and speak to a head teacher or a nursery manager? How do I do that confidently? How do I open up the conversation? What do I take with me? How do I price my packages? How do I package my services? Am I right in thinking it was you that said that, Jess?
Yeah, I think I had massive overwhelm. when I started receiving replies from my 5-day challenge email. And I just didn't know where to go. I can go into a school and provide without sounding big-headed, a great session or lesson. But then what do I do? Who do I speak to? And, what do I give them? How long do I give them to make a decision? And do I then chase them? But I then don't want to be, annoying. And it's all what comes after, and how do you then, move on? That's why I joined, because I didn't know where to turn, what to do.
And now you do.
I do. And answering your question, my return on investment there's a few different ways in which I look at it as well. Is obviously it's the money side, which I had my first school contract gave me back my return on investment.
Amazing. Just one school.
And that's just money based. But then when I look at my admin, how much it has decreased, and the time I save because of everything you've taught me is absolutely incredible. That it's hours and hours and hours worth of sitting there and sending emails and figuring out when to do my follow-ups and things like that. And I now have a calendar of things of what to do and how to do it. And it's almost by the click of a button. So it's the time I save as well, which is a return on investment in my eyes. And then with Philippa on board as well, it's the return on investment in how I feel and cope with things differently, and how you see yourself and your self-worth and things like that. So that's not money based, because I don't pay myself for my admin time. But it's an absolutely massive thing that you also need to consider.
That is huge. That's a huge insight. Thank you for that, Jess, because you might think that's not you directly getting money back from saving all that time, but actually you are, because as the business owner, imagine what what time you get back to have more headspace, to do more marketing, to do more business development, to follow up more schools and more nurseries. Actually, that money is coming to you, but just in a different way, because you freed up that time as the business owner. Who here watching would love to save some time, would like to learn these methods, but actually save time doing it, would like to invest in their business and save time doing it, would like to grow their business and save time doing it? Let me know if that sounds like a great prospect for you in the comments. Thank you for that, Jess. Jackie, do you mind me asking how long it took you to recover your investment?
I think it was probably about 3 months from starting the academy, because I started in January. I did 3 demos in February, and then I got contracts. I thought it was beginner's luck, but that first contract did pay for the investment in the academy. So I thought, oh well, probably just be this one. And then it wasn't. They just kept coming with every round of emails. It just kept building. So the initial investment was covered by the first contract with the schools.
So one new school, this is what I'm hearing across the board, is that people have really pretty much just needed one new school to cover that investment. And how doable is it, guys? Those of you here, and you can just give me a little bit of a nod, really. How doable has it been for you to use these methods to just get one new school? Yeah. Very doable. Very, very doable. Jackie, would you be happy to disclose how much additional income you've actually made since your year in the academy?
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't want to show off.
No, you're not showing off. I think some people really want to understand what the potential is. If they spend a year in the academy, what could happen and what has happened to other people.
Yeah, so I've basically built an extra £30,000 since I've joined the academy, which is I just didn't even have that sort of figure in mind when I joined. It was a bit crazy, really, but it's all gone mental. It's great.
I don't even know how many times. Well, actually, I can. The math's pretty easy, isn't it? In terms of the academy, you got your return on investment 30 times. nearly 30 times back, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well done, Jackie. Huge testament to the work you've put in. I know who else here was happy to talk about the time it took them to recover their investment. I think, Sammy, you had your hand up. Let's go to you, Sammy, as well.
Well, I might be a bit controversial, Keris, because I haven't actually sent out a campaign yet.
You did it in a different way, didn't you?
Yeah. So what I've got from the academy is I've upgraded all my current nurseries. I've increased my prices. But I've just picked up. So I would say for me, let's say 6 months, because I joined the academy in February. I picked up a new school in the summer. I did a paid taster. I've not actually done any free tasters. Since before lockdown. So I did a free challenge before lockdown. I got in for the tasters and then we had that. So that kind of threw that all out, really. But yeah, I did a free taster in the summer. I've now got a contract with that school from only September till December. And that has paid for the academy, just that one contract. And that's only 2 terms. I mean, if it goes well, they'll probably continue it for the rest of the year.
This is the thing, right? It's repeatable. You can compound on top of that now. You've got 2 terms. You can very much expect it to be renewed. I'm sure you're doing a fantastic job. And you can now use what you've learned as you're scaling to get more schools on board on top of that. But I like what you said. What Sammy's saying is she's actually used the academy to learn more about sales. And one of the most effective things you can do with regards to your sales, it's not always about going out and getting new schools and nurseries. Yes, that's what we have to do in the beginning. Yes, that's why we've started with this for all of you guys on a free challenge. But actually, when you come into the academy, it's about building your whole business around the idea of working with schools and nurseries. And what Sammy's taken heart with is back in July in the academy, around June time, I was encouraging everybody to upgrade the packages that they were presenting to the head teachers and nursery managers that they were already currently working with. So you've actually learned a lot about how to upsell your services so that schools are now, even your existing schools, are buying more from you and for longer. They're having longer sessions, therefore you're adding more value, therefore you've put your prices up, and schools are still willing to pay because they see that value for money. So that's an amazing example, Sammy, of how it isn't purely, I know we call it the Approaching Schools Academy, but it's not purely about approaching schools. When you've learned how to get into schools, it's right, how do I make more sales? And that's why we have an entire sales module in the academy. That's brilliant, Sammy.
Yeah. Something that's happened today, I just got a message today that schools are just approaching me now. I'm not even going to get them. They're just coming to me, which is fantastic.
Yeah. That's happening to Jackie. It's happening to Andy. It's that ripple effect, isn't it? It's you've put out there, I am a business that works with schools and nurseries. And the more, like Andy said, head teachers have been talking to each other. Nursery managers talk to each other as well. And, it is now that momentum that you've built, you're experiencing the snowball effect from that because you did the groundwork. I've been working with you for however long, Sammy, and it's, it's paying you back in dividends now. They're coming to find you. Same with Jackie. Jackie, recently you said you've had a secondary school and a nursery contact you, and it's because you're able to showcase all the work you're doing with schools from the methods I've taught you, and now they're coming back to you. Which is a fantastic position for you both to be in as you scale the business. So fantastic. I wanted to ask you, Philippa, what's your kind of thoughts on, from a mindset point of view, from anyone who's listening to this, thinking, I did really want to know about return on investment, and it is something that worries me, like starting something new in my business and making an investment. What would you have to say to anyone that's thinking that while they're listening?
I think it's really important that you honor that's a feeling for a part of you. I think it's also important that you look at the flip side. I'm worried about it, but also remembering that it's exactly the same chemicals that are coursing through your body that can be processed as fear or excitement. So what if actually it's just your standard operating procedure to process those hormones, those chemicals, as concern, but actually in this situation you might actually be excited about it. So flipping it that way and seeing is, am I actually excited about this? Is there a part of me that's not actually scared? I'm a little excited about the possibility that I could get my money back, and I could make more money. And I think it's also being aware of the fact that I love the quote. Yeah, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and whatever. And it a part of us, our ego, will always be scared of change. Yeah, it wants everything to stay the same. And so if we are fearful, it will put every single block in place for us to stop us changing. So it's thinking, am I genuinely worried about this? Or is a part of me scared of changing? Is a part of me scared of evolving? And it's then connecting with like your gut instinct. If you weren't going to worry about that, would you still do it? And then my last thing when it comes to new things is future pacing. Right? If you do invest, yes, imagine what life could be like in 6 months' time. But also then if you don't do something new, if you don't make that change, imagine what life will be like in 6 months' time. Will you have changed things? Will you not have changed things? Will things be the same or will they be worse? So it's allowing yourself to explore that. So if you are concerned about something new, yeah, honor that. That's okay to be concerned about it, but also be aware, am I genuinely concerned? Or is this my normal pattern of behavior? Get a bit excited about something new and then find out all the reasons why I shouldn't do it, because that's your ego talking. That is not the more evolved part of you that wants change. And also my last thing, right? Well, just one more point, honest, right? If you don't do it, yeah, there's a part of me that actually has to say to another part of myself, when I have to do something new and I want to do something new, who am I not to do it? Who am I not to share my gift? Because, I get emotional and overexcited, when people are doing so well, because they are sharing their gifts and having. If anyone's watched my interview with Keris yesterday, I cried, over Beagle 2, I think, wasn't it, or something like that. Someone bringing Beagle 2 into my school. But it makes such a difference. If you don't do this new thing, those children won't experience what you have to offer. And every single person who does what you do in the Approaching Schools Academy is changing the well-being of children. Is actually if children find out they're relevant in life. Yeah. I'll stop talking now. I'll go on.
I love it, Philippa. But that just reminds me of a mentor who once said to me in the early days of my dance business, Keris, who are you to hold back from helping children get more confident? Children that are shy like you were, children that are being bullied at the moment, children who don't understand their self-worth yet. Who are you to hold back everything that you can help them with, because you're not going out there and doing enough of your marketing, basically. This is what she said to me, and I was like, felt like a kick in the chest, like, oh my God, like, how dare I not help all these children that I can actually help, because I know that if I got into more schools, I could help them get more confident. It's like a kick in the guts. So yeah, that's a really, really useful insight. Thank you for that, Philippa. We've had a few specific questions. I'm going to go to you, Mike, for the first one, if that's okay. For these sort of specific questions, it's just kind of like, how would you deal with this situation? So let's go to Kath's first. Kath is saying, once you get a reply to your email and the school is interested in your offer, is it best to suggest a phone call to organise the visit date and time and things like what space you need? Or is it best to continue to email? Now, there's not necessarily a right or wrong here, but I'd be really interested to hear what you would do, Mike, in your business.
I really love to say, can we take it to Zoom? So we can actually see each other and they can see me, hear me, and realise what a bargain they're getting in me coming in.
Nice, because they're, you know, part of what you do. You're a storyteller, and you have done some sessions on Zoom as well as in schools and nurseries as well. They get to see you, they get to see how you interact, they get to hear what your voice sounds like, see your lovely background, and, you know, they get a real feel for what they would be getting if they invested in you, or if they invited you in simply to do a free taster. They've got a sense of who you are already, and I think that goes a long way to building a relationship. So that's really nice, that you would do that. What would you do, Jess?
It kind of depends on who emails me back. Sometimes it's the admin office assistant, whatever they're called, I'm not sure. And I think they just want a quick and easy, okay, I'll just ask them what information I need, who am I providing lessons to, how many children per lesson, what times, and I give them a bit of guidance so that they don't say, okay, I'll one at 10 o'clock, one at 10:30, and one at 11, because there's no time for children to come in and out. So I give them a little bit of a structure of, this is what I'd usually expect to happen, so that they know, and they can then figure it out with the class teacher and kind of discuss it with them, and then come back to me with whatever works for them. I do also offer custom made learning through dance lessons. And when it comes to that, I do prefer to speak to the class teacher, because I'm facilitating a lesson on what they are discussing in their classroom. And I need their input, because the office assistant previously, not long ago actually, emailed me and said, we're doing the earliest unit is doing I am me and you be you, or something. Please can you provide a lesson based on that? And I would be like, okay, well, you know, it's only the start of term. I'm not quite sure where they are in the curriculum, and, you know, what they've done so far. What type of things do I need to include? What should I stay clear of? So I just said, can I have a chat with the teacher, please? And they just rang me at a suitable time, and we discussed it, and it was wonderful. So it kind of just depends on what works for them, but also what works for you. So
that makes sense. If there's extra information you need from an educational point of view, you're going to want to speak to somebody who knows what they need, basically. So you can go in and solve that problem far better than you could have done if you were going in not really knowing exactly what they wanted or needed, or where they were at with their learning so far. That's amazing. Thank you. We have a question from Deborah, and I'll read it out, and then you can let me know which one of you would like to answer it. Hi, I've got my list together of nurseries I want to contact. Still waiting on my testimonial before I hit send. One of my nurseries is in a chain of 3. 2 are near me and the other 2 are far away. They list the outside providers on the website, and they use another drama company, but I believe only in the other branch. So how could I word an introduction so that I show that I'm aware of this, so that they're aware, that she's aware that there's another drama company in? And she said, if I ignore it, they will assume that I haven't done my research and maybe ignore me. Who would like to tackle this? Have you ever been in this position? In fact, I know Jackie's been in this position, in terms of, you knew there was somebody else perhaps in that school delivering drama, but you contacted them anyway. And actually, I know for Jackie, I don't know whether you addressed this in your initial email, but you got a real surprise when you sent that email to a school that you knew had a strong drama department, didn't you? Do you mind answering this from your perspective?
No, I don't mind answering at all. First of all, I don't think I would address it, because, as you said to me, it's not our business what they're doing with other companies and what they're using them for. And they might be coming at things from a completely different point of view. But the story that I think you're referring to is when I wanted to contact a special needs school, but I knew that their drama provision was amazing. They had an amazing lady there who was one of the teachers running the drama department. So I was always like, well, there's no point in emailing them, and you made me do it. And then I found out that she'd left. And that was the biggest contract I've had to date. And I had 3 teachers in there doing, I think, an afternoon per week each, and it was really rewarding, and it was one of the best things we've done so far.
Wow.
So never be put off by thinking there's another drama provider in there, because there might not be.
Great
advice. You can work alongside, can't you?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, from my point of view, it allowed me to work alongside another dance teacher who wasn't solving the same problem that I was. But like you say, the thing about school websites, they're not updated that often, are they? You might think they've got up-to-date information on there, and that might have been a drama provider from 3 years ago that's since moved on, you know? So yeah, that's absolutely right. Thinking back to my business, I never did that. So I never, like you say, Jackie, I didn't actually even look to see what providers they had in. I just contacted them anyway, because I knew that I was really clear on what problem I can solve for schools, understanding that perhaps even if they did have a dance teacher, they weren't currently solving that particular problem. So yeah, that's great to have that insight. Thank you, Jackie. What I'm going to do, because I'm aware of the time, we've answered sort of most of the questions on the question thread. Just going to come up to you lovely people who have joined us all. It's really nice to see so many of you here, and I'm just having a little look to see if we've got any sort of questions that the panel can kind of answer before we leave you to your lunchtimes or your afternoons. So let's see what people are saying. Few comments related to some things that we've talked about already. Aha. I can't see who this is, but hello, you're one of my early birds that joined us in August, and you're eagerly waiting to get your login codes to the Academy on Monday. I'll be starting ASA soon. I was an early bird. My question: I have one nursery I go in every week and deliver my drama classes to 3 groups. I don't have any contract. I just agreed the price after a conversation following a demo class. I've been there for a year. I expect I'll stay for years. But should I have a contract in place for new nurseries? What should I include? Yeah, so because you're going to get your login codes for the Approaching Schools Academy on Monday, in our Selling with Ease module, we do have a video where I talk to you about the main clauses that you're going to want to include in your terms of business, and there is an example of a service agreement in there as well. So you get access to all of that on Monday, and anyone else joining us this week, you will all have access to that on Monday as well. Let's see what other people say. This is an interesting comment for you, Philippa. Hearing you talk about the fear resonates so much with me, Philippa. Thank you for addressing this. I feel heard and motivated. Oh, brilliant. You've made Philippa very happy. Let's see what this question is. Lauren, has anyone wanted to grow their business while having another job they want to keep? This is an interesting one for some of you, I think. I have a part-time youth worker job, 10 hours, and I want to do both, which I am doing, but of course I want to grow my Toddletales business as well. Hope that made sense. Is there anyone that would like to jump in on this one?
When I started my franchise, I was still working in HR, and that wasn't my long-term goal. My long-term goal was to just do Tiny Toes Ballet, so it is a little bit different. But I think as a self-employed, as a business owner, you can manage your diary, so you can make yourself available however much you want the work to be there, if that makes sense. Yeah. So if you only want to provide Toddletales in nurseries on a Wednesday and Thursday because that suits you, then do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Philippa, would you have any advice on this in terms of they want to have their job and they want to grow their business as well?
I think that's perfectly fine. You're honouring how different parts of you feel right now. I think that's important. I think it's also to be important to keep in touch with yourself, as it were, to see how things change, because having your job, sometimes it's because it's exceptionally rewarding. Yes, you're a part-time youth worker. It fulfills part of you. But I would invite you to stay curious, because you may well find that that part of you that is being fulfilled by the youth work may actually start being fulfilled even more by what you do in your business. Sorry, I have to keep turning slightly because I've got a very grumpy puppy sitting behind me. And I've tried desperately.
Now, Philippa.
Oh no, it would be bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Yeah, so no. But I think it's okay to honour that, but stay curious, stay open-minded. Just because you've made that decision now doesn't mean that that's going to be the decision forever.
Yes.
And I so desperately want Jackie to say something.
I do too, but I didn't want to ask in case if she didn't put her hand up.
Sorry.
Say something.
Yeah, because it's about part-time work, Jackie. That was all. Because
But I was desperate to give up my part-time job. But my reaction to that question was that you can start employing a team. If the business runs away with itself, there's loads of support in the academy for finding those dream team members. And I need to apologise for my dog barking, because we also have a puppy visitor, and it sent my dogs into meltdown. So I might mute myself again in a minute. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, so you know, if you're comfortable and you want to grow to that degree, you can bring in new team members. But if you don't want to, that's your choice as a self-employed person, isn't it?
Good point. So it is all about your choice there, Lauren. There's a little bit to consider there, but you know, if you want to do both, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing both, and you can adjust and make these decisions. You know, we've jumped on coaching calls with Jackie and various different people who have kind of been making these decisions. You know, we've got other people in the Approaching Schools Academy who were currently teaching, and they were in a part-time teaching job, and they were looking to lessen those hours so they could focus more on their business. We had someone that was a TA. She's now given up her work as a TA to focus fully on getting her dance business into schools. So there is a lot of this, and we will help you with that transition, because you get the coaching, you get the mindset coaching from Philippa on a monthly basis, you get the strategy coaching from me with regards to your business on a monthly basis. So we will help you. You do get support with all areas of your life and your business, not just directly the getting into school stuff. I mean, I think that highlights what a lot of people have said today, is they've really noticed the effects on the rest of their business, not just simply the bit that's helped them get into schools. Michelle's here. Michelle's excited because she signed up as an early bird already to the academy. Michelle, you're going to be getting your login codes on Monday, which is very exciting. Let's see, any more questions? This might be an interesting one. How many sessions a week do you go into schools once you've been accepted to work with them? So this is really going to depend a bit on the school that you're in touch with and how much they want from you. But could anyone answer from a point of view of how much, like, what's the most amount of work you've ever got out of one school? Let's put it to you this way. Who wants to answer this one? Oh, Philippa wants to answer. Oh, Philippa's going. Bye, Philippa. Thank you for your amazing insights. Who's got their hand up and is not just waving? Sammy, let's go to you.
So I've got two schools and I go into them twice a week. But the most I've done is like a whole day of that with every year group.
Yeah, so you can go in for the whole day. Sometimes they will book you for more than whole days. You know, we have somebody delivering music PPA in the Approaching Schools Academy. Generally, schools were booking her for 3 days a week, which meant she had to build a team very, very quickly, because all her new team members were also being booked for 3 whole days a week. Yeah, so Sammy, thank you for that, because I think there's a tendency sometimes for people to think that it's just a one-off, or it's just an hour after school. A lot of people don't realise you can go in during the school day, and if you're adding value to every year group, you could go in for a whole day and get that booked. Yeah, so thank you, Sammy, that's brilliant. Let's see, any other questions that we've missed? Lauren says that's really helped me a lot. Thank you, I really appreciate it. You're more than welcome. Good luck with your decision. Okay, let's see if there's anything else, and then I will let you go. This was in response to what we were talking about with regards to primary school teachers, in terms of, you being the specialist and them not necessarily having time to focus and be a specialist in every subject. I'm a primary teacher and the days are so packed. There are so many things that teachers are expected to do and probably want to do, but just don't have the time, energy, and know how to fit it in. Enter us. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much to our panel. You've been brilliant. You've been really, really insightful. I think everybody's probably taken a huge amount away from this. So thank you so much for giving up your time today to speak to everybody about the amazing work you're currently doing in schools. I think a few aha moments will have been going off for other people watching this as well. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to those of you who have joined us live, and we will see you all soon. Bye, everyone.